Real quick, sitting from like, I think the majority of people in here are galvanized grads or junior developers in general, right? Ember makes a lot of sense from a place of bringing all the data over, from making sure that you do things the right way. Like just twofold question. One, I know that CJ from Kyle was a .NET developer before, so he might dabbled in C#, right? What I saw right there was a lot. CJ basically created 3 NPM packages that we use on a daily basis to do things. How important is it, right, to understand OOP, right? How important is it? Like, I feel like the learning curve from coming from wherever CJ came from, right, and doing what he just did right there, and he has 16 implementing constructors and all of that good stuff, it seemed to me that like he understood what was going on under the hood. So like if you want to spend your time doing Ember, which makes sense for the right things to do things, or do dive 100% into JavaScript and OOP and understanding how to make constructors, how to make all these things from the ground up. Like where do you spend your time?
I'll start with that. And repeat the question.
So question was, how much principles do you need to know to pull the shit off? So in Ember, there's an awful lot of magic that happened there. And so what I would say is that, I'll post my code up on this, but there's a lot of like something extends XYZ before we had like widespread support for like native classes in JavaScript. Ember was doing that. And like it assumed that you got the general idea of inheritance. And that there is a general Ember object, and that there are things that descend from that. And like even today, our components, it was the thing that made components rock with me was that they were a combination of what used to be views and controllers in Ember, and it combined both of those interfaces. And so when I think of like the inheritance tree on that, that's really what made that make sense to me. And so like, woe be the cat who's brave enough to try to grok Ember without understanding fundamental principles. It's not that you can't get it, and not that you won't learn a lot. It's that is a very tough battle if you don't understand general inheritance-y kinds of things. And like the same could be said of FP. It's not that like that's a minimum bar or anything like that. It is an expectation that you understand some generic principles that would apply to any sort of software-y kind of thing. Anybody else want to have an answer?
Yeah, I don't know, like the question starting around, I don't forget the exact question, but like the thing I do want to say is like, as a beginner, it can be extremely overwhelming to try to learn from first principles. So like to try to understand what a class is before you even understand how to use it or like using things that do use it. So I would definitely recommend like if you are a beginner, like it's way too, like you're taking on way too much to try and understand all this stuff without getting an actual application working and actually getting something going. And so that's what these front-end frameworks provide for you. Like, it obviously is a lot of magic, but it's getting rid of all that overhead of like learning all the underlying principles. So I would say initially, just get going, start building apps. But at some point, you're gonna reach a point where you need to debug something where you really have to understand what's happening under the hood in order to debug it. So it's almost like eventually when you think you're ready, kind of dive into it. At least that's my perspective on it. I know there are a lot of galvanized instructors that kind of think the opposite, like first principles first, but I'm very much like get stuff working, have some wins, and then kind of dive in and learn the nitty-gritty details.
I completely agree with that. Like, make fucking software. That's what we're all here to do. And like, all the principles will help you with that, but like, if the only thing you can do is get something done, that's fine. If the only thing you can do is know some principles, you can't actually make software, I don't give a shit. Nobody does either.
We have a question from the chat, which is
What's the name?
CJ, what theme were you using?
Sweet, yeah, so I'll show it real quick. Well, I guess the live stream can't see it right now, but this is Brawlhalla syntax. You can get it on Atom. I don't know if they have it other places. They're talking about this theme, like code editor.
Yes.
Yeah, I love it because it's very vibrant. It's full of colors. I'm also using splackets, which I learned about at a previous meetup. So like the curly braces take on different colors. It's pretty awesome. Yeah.
Whack it.
More questions.
Question
That
for
is.
all four of us. Anyone?
Which framework is the best one?
What are you doing, fucking Waz? Like, I think that really is the case. So, like, you guys saw not just 4 different frameworks, 4 different fundamental approaches to making software.
And then,
Okay, so the question was, which framework is the best? Wesmer's trolling us a little bit, and I'm trolling him by calling him Wesmer. It's Dave Wasmer. But I think it really is a matter of like, what are you trying to get done? If it is something straightforward and simple and whatever, I said that like Ember is the hardest way to make it to do that possible. It really is. And it's fat and it's slow for that kind of thing. It's for ambitious applications. If your application is ambitious, then like Ember is the flat out wrong fucking tool for it. Also, it's hard to learn. Can you hire enough Ember developers to help you out with that? If you're a dev manager, that might be something you consider. Like, I don't know, there's a lot of things that go into that, but like the reason that all of them can currently exist today isn't because a winner hasn't been decided yet. Well, we got the Frontend Face-Off, but that really isn't the case. They're all 4 kind of different things. You else have thoughts on that?
I have a comment.
Server-side templating?
So my thought on this entire idea of what is better, I mean, the answer is pretty simple. What allows you to get the job done in the time that you have and the energy that you have available to you? So this answer is going to be vastly different if somebody is paying you to do a job. If they say, okay, I have a deadline of 1 week from now, and it's a full, big, huge application, and it's full of APIs that you've never touched before, now is not necessarily the best time to pull out the shiny new framework that you've never seen before. Now is the time to use what you know to get the job done. However, if you're doing a personal project and your goal is to learn as much as possible, maybe it's time to pull out the new shiny framework because you might learn something about yourself, you might learn something about code, you might learn a new framework that you can then use in the future when that really important job comes down the line.
Apparently we'll ask all the questions, but the real the hard question here is as a junior developer, as a mid developer, as software grows and changes, then how do you decide as a web developer where to spend your time, right? And all of these are basically tools in your tool belt to make sure that they do different things. Where do I go? Do I go to where the market is? Do I learn Angular 2/4? Do I learn React because that's up and coming? Where do I spend my time and then get through later to become more of a CJ where I now know all the JavaScript? So as a junior, where do I put my focus?
I have a thought.
All right. I would reverse the question and, so the question was, as a junior developer, how do you spend your time? We have all these different frameworks. What criterion do you use to figure out, where you focus? James, is that accurate?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what I would say is, what do you want to do? I think that's been increasingly troublesome to me in junior developers and development in general, I guess, is the idea that we are tied to our frameworks or that we're chasing jobs. We do things, man. What do you want to do? Do you want to make the outdoors more accessible to people? Do you want to fix education? Do you want to, make medtech cheaper? What do you get up for in the morning? Start there, and then from that go okay, where's momentum on that? What's that kind of looking like? And even either in contrast to that or because of that, you go, all right, cool, I'm going to matrix that against my interest in these. You guys saw 4 very different approaches to making the exact same app. And I would estimate that all of you identified with a different one of those. They're yeah, that's exactly how I think about making apps. So on my side, super user focused. It's like there's very little like JavaScript, honestly, to do any of my shit, and there was a very wide range of that. Which of those is like, yeah, that's how I think about solving problems. Like, start with what fucking problems do you want to solve, and then combine that with how do I like to solve problems, and like that will give you a much better answer than like how many Angular jobs are there? Because the truth of the matter is, how many fucking jobs you need? There aren't that many Ember jobs. There also aren't that many unemployed Ember developers, and so like there's a bliss to be found in any one of these approaches.
We got some other questions too.
So another Twitch question is, what about stock performances between these frameworks? Which ones are overloaded and which ones are not?
I think I don't know. I guess I kind of have strong opinion. It's like, I don't know, everybody jumped on the React bandwagon just because like it's so performant. Like it's got the virtual DOM. Like, you only update the DOM nodes that you need. Like, I have not developed a single app where I actually cared about that. I don't know, that's really all I wanted to say. But, but I will show that, yeah, so but my code is not performant at all. So when I am updating the HTML, no matter if the elements change or not, it's literally re-rendering every single time. So all of these frameworks are much smarter about this. Like they actually will do comparisons with, okay, you're updating the HTML from this to this, so I'm only going to update these specific DOM nodes instead of like wiping the whole thing out. I don't know. Like because the other thing is like if you're using like Angular 1.6, everybody was complaining about the two-way data binding and how it had like dirty checking and the digest loop and all that. But if you knew what was going on, you could turn on one-way data binding. Like you could disable those things that made your app slower. So depends on the app. I don't know.
So what I would say to that is that like amen to all of it. First of all, and also like yeah, Ember was the same way. Ember used to do two-way data binding. Ember is currently a one-way data binding framework. All of them are. And it like Ember did it in a kind of a neat way that didn't change the API, but fundamentally it was the same thing. When people are like, yeah, it's so performant, I still feel like to this day that like React and Vue and a lot of its component libraries, like they're great, but like that was never the complexity of your app. The complexity of your app is state management. And like you don't see the same enthusiasm for Vue or Vuex or MobX or any of that kind of shit. It's like, well, I don't know, that gets a little bit messy. Like, yeah, you're goddamn right it does, because the state management is the hard part of the app. And you can write shitty code in any of these frameworks. And so if the reason you're hopping on a particular bandwagon is like, I don't know, man, it hurts pretty fast, like you're approaching this problem from the exact wrong angle.
I have one quick thing to add on to that.
So one thing I add on to like the entire performance thing is you have to ask yourself, why do we need performance? Sometimes we don't need performance and we think we do. Sometimes we need performance and don't make the right decision for that performance. So we have to make those decisions first. Oftentimes I see people start to jump into the code and choosing technology before they even know what the true problem they're trying to solve is. So ask yourself, like, do I have a huge data set that I'm downloading like every couple of seconds? Is my back end like set up for this type of thing? Do I really need a framework at all? Do I not? Like those type of things is not about like, what's the new hotness? It's more of, what am I actually trying to do? Where am I trying to use this? Are my users going to be on cell phones with crappy internet connections in the middle of nowhere? Because if they are, then you need to take that into account more than like, React will load onto the page really fast. Well, maybe React's too big for that. Maybe you need native.
Well, I have
Polyas, Brooks said Polyas, woo!
Well, Brooks, I have one thing I want to say on that. I'm the last defender of server-side rendering. Wikipedia uses it. Like, there's valid use cases for fully like delivered HTML pages from the browser, and it's exactly that. If you're on a metered connection, if you're on shitty connection or something, the entire benefit of all the like front-end frameworks you've seen tonight is that
your front-end device is powerful enough to process that, and it will get it done better for the user than the server. That's not necessarily the case. Like just bringing down like a string that your device has to parse into the DOM, that's the easiest thing it can do. If it also has to process all this shit, that's not necessarily, like, this is a $600 fucking phone. Not everybody has a $600 fucking phone. Who are your users and what are the actual use cases? And if you go to Chandler Prawl's talk this week, yeah. Okay, so like, you missed out because Chandler Prawl is maybe the best developer in like all of Denver. He's a lead architect for Craftsy, and he is a performance ninja. And one of his mantras is like, look at the actual performance, not the MDN performance, not the theoretical performance. Actually profile this shit because Ember caches a lot of stuff. It also doesn't cache a lot of stuff. All of these frameworks are kind of like that. And things that you might think are theoretically slow, are they actually slow? Because we're writing the super high level stuff, and like Ember is here, the other three frameworks are kind of here, Siege is down here, and Siege was actually being run. And so like, what is actually happening? If you profile this stuff in Chrome, Firefox, any of those tools, what you think is performant and not performant might not be the case. Because the way that it optimizes like your code, I promise you, is different than how you think it works.
We have more questions out here too.
Of course. So real quick, so I know Ember really well. I know that one of the things that I like about Ember is the Ember community. So like things like the website Ember Observer. What other kinds of tools or websites are there available for say React, Angular, or even Native? Can you guys talk about that?
Yeah, I think in terms of community, like they all have really good communities. I mean, you have Angular, which is Google Google maintains it. You have TypeScript, which is really tied to Angular 2/Angular 4 now. That's Microsoft. So they all have and then of course React, is Facebook. I would say in terms of community, Vanilla.js probably is the worst, in my opinion. Is there a Vanilla.js conference? There's not really a big JavaScript conference out there.
It's called Develop Denver or Dinosaur.
Yeah.
Because both of those are JavaScript conferences, but Steve wanted to be less unapologetic.
Yeah, I mean they all have their own separate communities, but yeah, in terms of communities, I would say that they all have really strong communities.
So in learning React, or more specifically Redux, for this, I went through 3 tutorials with Redux before one stuck with me. So I think that's something that really shows React, and specifically Redux, which oftentimes is paired with React, has enough of a community that there's 3 completely different architectures in the tutorials that I was eventually able to find one that sort of clicked with me. And I think that's the important thing to find when you're looking for something.
In terms of searching, searching Angular is difficult. You have Angular 1 or AngularJS, and you have Angular 2, which is a little bit different than Angular 4. Even Angular 4 should theoretically be backwards compatible. Coming out of this, I would really like in terms of configuration, in my project, I would like a .search file that basically I can put in search configurations. So instead of having a separate window open with separate tabs, basically when I'm in this file directory and I go to Google and search, it goes back to my my project repo, and it's like, hey, I want Angular 4, and I want stuff that's within the past year to help differentiate between AngularJS and Angular 2. So I kind of came out with it man, my Google foo is not great because of the way Angular is.
You guys have talked a lot about finding what you need as a developer and choosing one based on what you need. In the future of this, right, each of them are updating multiple, I don't know how many versions React is on. Angular is hilarious in my opinion, trying to keep up. But What do you guys see as far as, do you think that the amount of frameworks will kind of dilute into way more, so everyone has their own version of what they need? Like, I mean, Vue wasn't really a thing when I was learning. Or do you think that more options will go into like the big three, or like it'll actually condense into less? So, if that makes sense.
Good question.
I feel that the way that technology has seemed to be done in the last couple decades is we fracture, get a huge amount of options, a couple of them gain a huge amount of traction, everybody switches over to them, they get big, then a lot of the small ones die off, and then the big ones fracture. And then the pattern repeats, and it just repeats over and over and over again. That being said, look how long Angular 1 was around. Look how long React has been around. It's been around longer than most people think. Vue has been around longer than most people think. Native.js has been around the block a few times. They've been here for a while, they'll be here for a while, and it doesn't mean you have to switch to the latest hotness just because it came out. And if somebody says in a job that they need that, they're lying.
Agreed.
Yeah, learning programming paradigms. I think everything's going web components. I think eventually we're all going towards web components. It's not going to really matter which framework it is. So regardless of what that looks like, I mean, Polymer is probably a good one to learn right now just because of that. But Hans there is like a Polymer expert. So if you're interested in Polymer, Hans.
Yeah, I was kind of tempted to say something already earlier, but I think, I mean, from the solutions you guys provided, that was awesome, and that was really a good overview of very big, except for CJ's thing, front-end web libraries. But I think, and I agree with you, Michael, that the development or the destination of the technology definitely goes to move all this functionality into the platform. So I think actually over the long run, most of these technologies will be absorbed by the platform, and then there will be web components and all that stuff that we're doing currently after downloading a huge JavaScript payload will be in the platform, and you'll have a web component that then works on top of that. And I think Polymer is a good current solution for that, something to look at. I had the feeling that they were trying to go for more traction about a year ago, and they kind of have slowed down a little bit. They kind of went towards having actually React inside Polymer components. And I think React kind of stands out because it doesn't really represent the whole thing that Angular and Ember. And therefore it's more performant and faster. But let's say if the whole virtual DOM idea in React became unnecessary because the browser would get so fast to do these DOM manipulations anyhow, then React would be an obstacle.
So if you didn't hear on the live stream, basically, and really the point that I was going to bring up is like, this stuff is moving into the browser, like into the platform. Like, and this is happening, and is happening with language features of JavaScript. So like, browsers will prototype them, they'll pick up, and then eventually the browser and like the ActiveScript standard will eventually implement them. So with the idea of like moving to web components, basically all of this framework stuff is going to slowly go like slide away like bits and pieces of it until it's all potentially built in. I will say, like, I don't think it's ever going to all go away because, like Kyle was mentioning, we all have different styles of building apps. I just think there's going to be less and less that the framework actually has to do that the browser is providing for you.
So there's one other angle on it, and I think that is the mobile thing that you guys touched on already. So the requirement to download a large JavaScript payload and parse that is putting pretty much heavy burdens on the data latency of these network connections.
I have lots of
if you don't have to do that, then you're gaining your stuff. Like Google has this progressive web app idea thingy, which was kind of touched on in the React example with the web service worker stuff. All that. These things are all in the platform already, and you can actually speed up these applications quite a bit by doing this. Google also has tools for that, with like Lighthouse is a tool that will let you profile your web applications if they would be even feasible to load on a mobile device. And I guess if on the long run web applications won't be loadable on a mobile device, they're probably going to be very marginalized and on the board.
Oh my God, please do this to me. So, yes, and yes. So I gave a talk at TechCrunch Disrupt this year about progressive web apps, and I made that basic exact point. I'm very optimistic that that is the future of web applications, is that things like service worker, offline loading, the meta options that we have now for installing a web app, I am in the camp that thinks that native is on its last days. I think that the web is the ultimate platform. I also want to concur with some of the things that you said, with a lot of this is being consumed by the browser. Yes, absolutely. And Ember in particular has always strived to be web component compatible. So an Ember component and now a Glimmer component, those have been from day one intended to be web component compatible. I've written my share of Polymer components. It's a rough API. And the Ember approach to that has been can we make that API a little bit easier to do? But the end game of all of that was to be, to make that not a framework concern, just no, that's just in the browser now. The other thing I would say about that is that, again, I've had a non-zero amount of beers tonight, but whether or not all of these frameworks can coexist at the same time, I don't think all of them can. For example, in particular, Vue and React, I'm watching that one pretty closely because I don't think there is a need in the market for a Vue and a React to exist simultaneously. However, did you see the different ways that we built the exact same fucking thing tonight? The difference between Ember and Angular and a pure component library like React, those are monstrously different approaches to making an application. And so, do I think that a Vue and Angular and Ember can exist in the same space? Fucking course. They're very different approaches and have different teams that would build on those, different hiring concerns, different scaling concerns. And so I think that whether on the scale of super opinionated to super loose and let you do whatever you want, there's always going to be room at this edge and this edge, probably somewhere in the middle. And as these things evolve, we can keep doing that. And I really love the idea of bringing things like all of our individual component approaches to something like the web component standard approach, but opinionated, unopinionated, in the middle, those seem like we'll always have frameworks of those. I don't know. Let's do one more question.
Why am I so greasy right now?
Why are you so greasy right now?
Same question.
I would like a different question.
CJ, I would like to. Did you record your screen?
Yes.
Did CJ record the screen? He did. Does anybody have a real question? We have four very sharp folks who all we want to do is share our love of the web for you. All right, Rob, this is your second chance.
So in Ember, I have been using the _super arguments. What does that do?
So what does super do? This is a more general OOP question, so I'll say, as you're subclassing something, if you want access to the bigger implementation of it, you can do _super and get access to that and then do something else, however you want to. Okay, that sounds like a good way to end on.
Thank you guys very much.